All right, folks, we have here the best steak sandwich that you will make all year. Simple ingredients. We've got some olive oil. We've got some French's yellow mustard. Very, very, very simple ingredients. And we got some cracked black peppercorns and flake salt. That's about it. Now, the star of the show is, of course, the New York strip that I have here. Now, make sure your New York strip is at least an inch thick because it allows for the pieces that you're going to cut into or that you're going to cut up to be evenly, beautifully charred and not burn. And so it's a beautiful piece of meat to use for this recipe. Split it down the middle and then commence to cutting 1-inch pieces so that all that meat cooks evenly, beautifully. You get nice char on every piece, top and bottom, and it's just a wonderful thing to see. So once you get it cut, toss it into a bowl and then add your ingredients. You're going to drizzle some olive oil, not a lot, but enough to coat each piece. Then you're going to add your French's mustard. Now, you can add as much mustard as you want, but I wouldn't go too crazy, just enough to coat every piece lightly. Then you're going to toss in your salt, your pepper mixture, and then you're going to toss. You're going to toss so that every single piece is covered. Now, once you toss, you're going to toss it into the refrigerator. You're going to place it into the refrigerator, rather, for a couple of hours. And then once it's done, you're going to take it out. And you're also going to have, what you see there is I quartered some onions, some red onion, and I just made them perfectly sized to fit on the original 3-way skewer, which we're going to use to grill this recipe. But quartered some onions, and it's time to load the skewer. Now, you can use whatever skewer you want, but as you can see, I'm using the original 3-way skewer by Grilling Savant. What I'm going to do is now take the steak after I take the quarter onions and create like a bed at the bottom of the 3-way. And this allows for it just to cook much easier and just looks beautiful. I mean, I'm a big aesthetic guy too. You know, if your food looks good, for some reason it seems to taste better. Not all the time, but majority of the time. So once you load the onions as your bed at the base of your skewer, as I did on the 3-way, then you're going to place your steak, and it's going to go onion, steak, onion, steak, onion, steak, and this is what you end up with. And if you are using an original 3-way, then you know exactly what this looks and feels like, and you are ready for the grill. But one final note to remember is you don't want to let this marinate too long. You actually want to be ready to grill once you pull it out of the refrigerator for 2 hours. Now it's time to kiss the grill. So you're going to go ahead and place it over hot coals, and you're going to allow that steak to cook and sear for at least 1 minute and 50 seconds, 2 minutes basically. And once you flip it, it'll look just like this. Look how nicely that is cooking up, folks. I'm telling you. Now, I like my steak a little medium, so that's what I'm cooking it to. And then I placed it on our brand new Grilling Savant 3-way racks because I didn't want the fire to really char. I just wanted to still have that heat and just to cook it evenly and finish it up. And then it was time to remove it. So this is what you get when you remove the 3-way after it's cooked for about 5 to 7 minutes. Just a beautiful, beautiful skewer loaded with some succulent steak nuggets that you're going to slice up and make the most epic steak sandwich. So I went ahead and I toasted my brioche bun. But before we get to constructing the sandwich, watch the magic. Watch how I take the food release lever, simply slide it down, and remove all those succulent steak nuggets. Watch this. Watch this. Here we go. I love this part. Now, keep in mind, I did let the steak rest for about 5 minutes. So before I did pull it off, but check this out. Yes. Now it is time to construct the sandwich. So what I did is I just simply took the pieces of steak, thinly sliced them so that they'll be edible for the sandwich and it'll look pretty and, just wouldn't be cumbersome to eat. So thinly sliced, and look at that, perfectly cooked for a sandwich. Toasted the brioche bun, and I just went ahead and start constructing it. And now the ingredients that I'm using for the sandwich are very simple as well. I got some homemade chimichurri, I got some red tomatoes, and I have some finely cut romaine lettuce. That's what I chose to use instead of iceberg. So what I did is I took those thinly sliced pieces of New York strip and I start building the sandwich. So I loaded it up too, as you'll see. Once I had it loaded up, I took the tomatoes and I piled some on there. Now, I love tomatoes on pretty much every sandwich, but this particular sandwich, it really hit. So I loaded up the tomatoes, and then I took some of the chimichurri, and I put that directly on top, so all that juice and oil from the chimichurri seeps through the tomatoes onto the meat. Then finally the bread, so the bread doesn't get soggy. I love, I mean, love this sandwich. I made it about 5, 6 times already, so I just wanted to share it. Then I topped it off with some of that thinly cut romaine lettuce, and then topped it with those grilled onions. And folks, we had a sandwich, and it was time to taste. And here we go.